Okay, so I finally took the Trinity Force Optic out. This is a Cheyenne Mountain Shooting Complex. Not my preferred range. It's overmanaged. It's very slow to get anything done. But it was nearby, and I had some things tie me up at work, so I didn't get out to Dragon Man's, which I would have preferred. Today I'm using 5-round Chinese magazines. I took a 100-round TulAmmo box out, so I wanted to make sure I was, taking my time. These 5-round magazines, they slow me down, so I'm not just wasting ammo. But as you can see here, after I get the chamber indicator out, they're a pain in the butt to load. You don't really get that full rock and lock action as you would with a 30 or 20 round. I did bring a 20-round tanker mag, but that's later on, and I didn't put any more than 10 rounds. So these are my initial shots. Let's go ahead and check that out. I fired my initial 5 rounds. I had a 10-inch paper plate just to get rounds on paper to see where I was impacting at 25 yards. I did have to tighten the mount a little more. I don't know if you could tell, but at a couple shots right there, you can see it kind of looks like it's rattling. It did loosen up, so when I did my first video, I just tightened it, and I didn't want to over-tighten it, so I had to make an adjustment. Once I got that, it didn't come loose after that. So make sure your mount is adjusted properly before you start firing. Give it a wiggle test occasionally, see if it needs some tightening. But after that, it stayed on firmly, and I continued to shoot at some targets and see where I was hitting. Once again, optimum is probably 50 yards for 0 on this site.
Black and the white, but you hit that target. You hit. You just gotta get focus in. Okay?
At this point, I was ready to make my first adjustment, and just as a reminder, I signaled 1-5 right. That's when I started making my initial adjustment, so then I could start dialing it in a little better. From here, I think I went out and started shooting at a 100-yard target, and had a little better success. Getting a good steady platform. The optic in the glass is pretty decent. At this point, I got to where I was yards. With the 100-round targets.
I started getting them into the center. Just a few adjustments once I dialed it in. So every 2 clicks at 100 yards was about 1 inch. First I went down 4, then I went down another 2 inches, and that put me in the center. Then I went over 2 inches, and then another inch, and I got down into the center. So I think that's where it shines a little better than up close. Another long walk back. Got about 25 more rounds. I'm gonna shoot some steel targets at 120, 150, I think it is.
So from here, I just wanted to do some random shooting. I started engaging targets at the 120-yard line. They had some steel plates. And then I moved over to the upper right in between the range fans. There's a coyote target. I believe that's at 130 to 120. I would say no farther than 150. And then they have a ram out to the left. I think I tried to engage that one and made a little bit of adjustments just using the reticle, bringing it up, adjusting for point of impact, and I was successful at hitting that. At some point over the casings hitting, you can hear some of the impacts on the steel plate. So overall, it held up pretty good at 100 yards. The glass is pretty clear. It's focused properly. You're going to see pretty clear. I had it at 4 times zoom, so I had no issues seeing the targets. So let's go ahead and continue to see, or maybe you can hear that I'm hitting the plates. At this point, you could see I have that small micro dot mounted on top. Once again, I think it's useless. You have to look way over the firearm in order to get a good picture. Maybe for close quarters, or if it was lower, maybe an offset cant mount, it might, might work. But it's way too high on an AK, so that's going to go somewhere else, and I'll explain when I do my final review here in a minute.
And then we had to do a story about our car. I had like 7 signs I couldn't remember, and by the time I got to the 7th sign, I was off the other side. So the semester was over actually, but on the videotaping that we're supposed to send to each of the sensor, I apologize. I said I'm having a I can't remember these signs. Like Ohio, I'm helping, and she cut it all the way out, and then she helped me and said, don't put this, put that. So I did the story, I got an A on it. She's like, I love the facial expressions, and we had another one about Mother Diamond Sweethearts is actually like this. And I did like this, and she goes, cute, but long. But I did a story about one time when we were all, I have a lot of brothers and sisters. We were out swimming. It got later on in the afternoon. We've been swimming all day. Dad came out. He went into the shed and got the gas can, and then went over to the side of the house and proceeded.
So, in conclusion, the Trinity Force Assault V2 28mm 1x4 power optic. For the money, not bad. This thing, it's a good little optic, but when I mounted it, if you could see some of the pictures in the some of the video, you'll see that it's mounted on there. I wanted to see what it was like. It's far too high to be useful on an AK. Maybe you can use it on another, cheaper, build or something. But it's decent. I'm not gonna really, say it's garbage. I mean, but it's a bonus. Other than that, I think this one performs better at 100 yards. It's easy to dial in. Every one click is a half MOA, so or a half inch at 100 yards. So you'll give it 2 clicks, it'll move it down 1 inch. And as you can see by the video, I came down 4 inches and then moved it from there. Finally started getting it in the square. Now I'm just using TulAmmo, so that's mainly what I'd be running in it. I'm not going to be running any precision brass case ammo or anything. So you use what you have available. So TulAmmo, I got tons of that. Brown Bear might get the same results. Overall, for the price, pretty decent for what I'll be using it for, which is occasional use. I'm not going to be using it a lot, for everything. But the combination mount and scope, I'm satisfied. For the money, you're looking at $150, $160, maybe $170 total, I think it is, if I do the math. Once again, not going for far distance, shooting with an AK. 100 yards is, what I'll probably be looking at, shooting at stuff. But I'm happy with it. If you're interested in it, this is it's a decent scope. That's all I'm going to say. People are going to bitch. It's not a Vortex. It's not, whatever. It's what you get, what you pay for, and I wasn't going to spend a lot of money. Once again, my eyesight's not that great. Not going to really worry about it. The illuminated reticle, it's a gimmick, but, I tried it. It's okay, I don't see any use for it. Maybe low light. But all in all, it's a little tricky up close. 25 meters is probably a little too close to zero, as I found out. 50 yards would have been better. I shot on the paper, as you could see, just to get it in there. At 100 yards, it was a little bit more easy to manage the dialing in process. And then after that, I was hitting steel plates and steel coyote targets at 125, 150 meters out. So, that's what I wanted it for, and that's what it's going to, perform at. So I'm happy with it. And so if you're interested in it, save some money, get one if you want. Go buy a Vortex so you can show off at the range. Other than that, I'm not out to impress anybody. So that's my review of the Trinity Force Assault Optic and the UTG AK mount. So if that's what you're looking for, You know, it's worth the money. Don't worry about what other people think on the range. All right, thanks for watching.